Today, it's him, looking like a mess, but it doesn't matter because most of this will be me putting up screenshots of the Kauai Writers Conference schedule and going through it and deciding what to attend. And yes, we did see Fantastic Four, and yes, I loved it. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, except... Well, I probably do have a lot to say about it. I won't say a lot about it here. There were some places where the CGI was still a little rough, and that distracted me a little bit. But for the most part, I thought the story overall, the chemistry between the actors, characters, all of that, I thought was great. All right, if you want more about Fantastic Four, we can do that. Let me know in the comments. But let us go through the Kauai Writers Conference. Now, I am not doing the master classes that are at the beginning of the week. I am just doing the main conference, which I think starts that Friday. Yes. Okay. So here we have the first, breakfast, and then a welcome and blessing. And obviously I don't have a lot of options for those first few sessions because it's just the one thing, apparently, I guess. Bringing truth to your fiction. I don't really know what that means. I don't know if he just means like giving details that make it feel realistic, or if it's like themes, because maybe it doesn't need to be realistic if it's fantasy. I don't know. I guess I'll find out. And then bringing poetry to your prose, which again is probably just about writing style, making, fluid descriptions. I have no idea. Okay. We're going to go on. So then there's a lunch. I didn't do the dining package because, I don't know, I just didn't feel like it was probably worth it. But, so I'll wander off, I guess, to find food at that point. And then finally we do have some choices beginning to happen in the afternoon. So we have one workshop, characterization, the kiss between plot and character. That portmanteau is not easy to say. I think I would have been like character plotation. I don't know. I think I just would have done something different there, but that's okay. Whatever. And then whose story should we be allowed to tell? Oh my goodness. That might be a really interesting one. I don't know. Hopefully everybody remains calm because that is a constant debate, isn't it? Are you allowed to tell this story or not? I hate that. I feel like, and this is just me. This is my personal opinion. You can write whatever you want to write. The market gets to decide if it's any good, whether that's because you wrote something that the majority of people feel like you shouldn't have written, or it's just not well written, or whatever. But that's just me. And then we've got 3 options at 2:30. A workshop, what really makes us laugh. Oh, is that like writing comedy? I don't know. I don't write comedy really, so I like reading comedy. I might be curious enough just to go look. The author-agent relationship. Oh, I've worked in publishing. I've had agents at different points, and it never worked out. I even had a screenwriting person helping me, and that actually caused the people interested in my script to run away because he was being very demanding as a screenwriting agent. I don't anticipate ever submitting a query again or anything like that. I would, of course, still like to be quote unquote traditionally published, mainstream published, I guess would be the term I'd use. Some people call it legacy publishing. I would like that, but I think my writing is too different, too niche. I mean, I write really bizarre blends of genres. I've had a couple books put out by small publishers, and I wasn't real fond of that experience either, so I don't know. I would get an agent for my screenplays if I could. Ideally somebody who understands working with indie. The problem is these days, a lot of these indie directors, they're writing their own work, and then, they're Just like we publish our own books, they want to, make their own movie, and that's fine, but, I don't know. Anyway, and then Laura Lentz, I feel like I know that name. I don't know, I'll have to look her up, but writing memoir, I don't write memoir, so I do a lot of editing of memoir. A lot of the editing jobs I get are memoir and, nonfiction of some kind, but I don't really have it. I kind of want to write my story someday, but I don't know. It's probably not interesting enough for that. And then there's just stuff I can't talk about for various reasons. So it would be a really like Swiss cheesy kind of memoir. Okay. Allie Hazelwood, writing romance. I mean, have people forgiven her for, what was it that she was, people were mad at her for something. Was it, oh, it was the Hunger Games thing. And okay, here I am risking people being mad at me. I got it. I understood what she was saying. Like, honestly, I mean, I was kind of like, yeah, she's not wrong. But people took it really seriously. People take their fandom seriously, and that's cool. But then there are just times where it's like, you can't go around bashing people for having a different opinion either. Okay, so how publishing is changing. Now that would be a good one to attend, because it is changing more rapidly than it used to now with, increased technologies and more people writing books, quote unquote writing, if they're using plagiarism bot, as I call generative AI, because that's more or less what it is. And you can hate me for that opinion too if you want, but that's how I see it. And then telling forgotten stories. Oh, all of these sound interesting. Well, everybody's going to be at the Allie Hazelwood one, right? Like, she's such a popular author. So I'll probably go to one of the other ones. And then we've got this supernatural spoken word show. What? What is this, like a open mic beat poetry? What is that? I don't know what that is. I'll probably go look just out of curiosity, and I'll just see if it's worth staying. I'll stay, but I don't know what that means. Okay, so Saturday, breakfast, and then we get started bright and early. We've got former president of Paramount Pictures. Oh no, not that Paramount Skydance shit. We're not doing that. Fuck that guy. The Winding Path from book to film. You know what? I have done adaptations. I've worked on stuff like that. I don't know that I need a workshop on it. And honestly, I think the Paramount Skydance thing, the CBS, that stuff is just gross. I'm just not supporting that. You can't do this alone. Finding and building your creative circle. You know what? I have had different writing groups at different times in my life. And since COVID, it's been really hard to reassemble a writing group. I like meeting in person, so it's really a matter of location. And a lot of my writing people, some of them are 8 to 10 years younger than me, and they've gone off to have kids, and that kind of derails them from writing. And then I've got a whole other group of them who are older than me, retired, doing this kind of for fun, and therefore aren't really being consistent or taking it as seriously. And then we've got dialogue, find the voice of your character. Dialogue I have no problem with. My background in screenwriting, dialogue, I'm golden. Switching genres, romantasy. Oh, no. You know what? I don't read romantasy. I've tried. I don't like it. And I certainly am not going to write it. Finding your own writing process, that's probably worth actually attending. Because I feel like my process has changed at different times in my life, and that just has to do with having kids at different ages and my own personal schedule and whatever else. And now it's almost harder to write when I have more time, because it feels easier to put it off rather than schedule it in. I don't know if other people have that, but that's definitely been my experience. Writing your real life, painful but worth it. Yeah, again, I don't know that I'll ever do that. Workshop openings and endings, and then the art of brevity. What, like a novella? I don't know what that is. Then there's a beachside lunch. Writing characters that readers will fall in love with. What agents are looking for today, and the poetry of growing up on Kauai. Probably, and this will probably be the most popular one too, I would think. What agents are looking for today. I might still be curious enough to go to that one. Or I'll go to the writing characters one. I'm sure the poetry of growing up on Kauai will be lovely. My grandfather was a poet, but, that just doesn't speak to me. Workshop, The Art of Writing Conflict. Were the workshop ones, are you supposed to like submit stuff to that? Or did people submit to that and you can go listen? I don't know. This is my first time at the Kauai conference. I've thought about it multiple times, but this is the first time I've ever committed to going. My thought process was that if it ends up sucking, at least I'll be on Kauai and I can go do something else. You might as well be somewhere where you can go have fun otherwise if this turns out to be a bust. Art of Writing Conflict, building your platform. Now that, I left the Dead Bird app and I had been there like for 15 years and I had built up a really good following. So I'm on Blue Sky now. And if you are, please, look me up. Rebuilding it is painful. I'm not an Insta person. I have Instagram. I barely use it. I took all my social media off my phone, and that's been, I think, good for me in an emotional, mental health kind of way, but it does impact my ability to advertise myself and my work. You got to find the balance there. And then, we've got more Allie Hazelwood. Stephen Rowley. Do I know that name? I don't know. Pacing your novel. Pacing is something I still do struggle with sometimes. Oh man, that's going to be hard to decide between building my platform and pacing my novel. At 4:35, there's just writing the family dynamic. It's the only one. Oh, and then the luau though, and I am attending the luau. And then there's a brunch on Sunday, Where the Light Gets In, writing dark stories. And a moderator, How I Made Unknown Books into Award-Winning Movies. Okay, now that, because Jim Burke was the one who was Focus, not Paramount, right? Yeah. So definitely gonna go check that out. The writing process, find what's holding you back. Workshop editing your work and a poetry. Well, find what's holding you back. I know what's holding me back. I'm lazy. When I have the time, I can't find my motivation or my discipline. And when I don't have the time is when I suddenly have the urge to write. I gotta come up with a routine is really what it is. I'm a person of habit and I need to create better habits. But if you've got any suggestions for that, let me know. Finding your champion. How to land the right agent. I've had some bad experiences with agents. I've had some agents who got me really close and then just broke my heart. And I don't know. Alternative versus mainstream publishing. Alternative. That's a new one to me. Is that what we're calling it now? How agents evaluate your work. Probably I'll do the alternative versus mainstream one, but query letter clinic. Well, since I don't query anymore, that's deep story design. And then I don't know what Desiree Duffy's going to do. I've won some BookFest awards, so she might be interesting to listen to. But I'm also like, what is deep story design? Do they mean like outlining? Do they mean like plotting your book? I don't know what that means. Is that a software, deep story design? It's all capitalized. That's why I'm wondering. How to write a page turner, cranking up the tension. Well, and that's it. That is where it ends. It ends Sunday afternoon. Yeah, that makes sense because I'm flying out Monday morning. So that is the Kauai Writers Conference schedule as currently posted. I don't know if it'll change. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been to a conference in a while now. When did I last go to a writing conference? It had to be pre-COVID. I don't think I went back to San Francisco Writers. Yeah, no, I think the last time I was there was 2018 or 19. And that was probably the last writing conference I was at because I live in the Bay Area. So that one's easy for me to go to. And I've been there like 3 times. And it's good. It's a good one. Like, I do recommend it. But I'm looking for other more interesting, wider ranging ones. I did the DFW one once because I have friends in that area. So this will be a new one too. And if I like it, maybe I'll go back. I find that if you go back to the same one year over year, the content is seldom very new or fresh. So it works better to go every 2 or 3 years to the same one and try and find different ones on the other years. You know, if you can rotate through about 3 different ones. I try to do one a year, but realistically, it's more like every 2 to 3 years anyway. I used to go more frequently when I was writing more, when I was being more productive, but I'm not productive anymore. I want to be. I'm hoping to get back to it. Anyway, that is the Kauai Writers Conference schedule. If you're going to be there, I hope to see you there. I will report back. I mean, like I said, it's not till November. I'll definitely let you know how it goes. And until next time, take care.